Hey my friend, it's Duc, founder of Developers Academy and creator of Total iOS Blueprints. Welcome back to our 7-day script challenge, day number 7. Well, that is the last day so far, and I'm kind of like sad because you have been coming to the last day, but I'm so stuck in a way that you are here, you finish the last day, so you are going to finish, so let's do it. Functions in class. Again, object-oriented programming is just a concept that we try to model real-world object or some objects in the computer that we can wrap around a lot more advanced concepts, right? Like we have a character in the game, we have his skin color, we have his height, we have his clothes, we have his weapons, those kind of things. So we talk about that properties in the class. Now, a person can also sleep, talk, smile, or close their eyes, open their eyes, run. So they can perform some task, right? They can do some actions. That is what functions in Swift in a class is all about. So let's get ahead in this demo. Alright my friend, welcome to the last section in our first module, Become a Swift Developer. I hope that you enjoy our journey so far in iOS development Kickstarter. I hope that this session and all of these last sessions bring you great joy and great knowledge and great skills. And if you don't find any of that, I hope that at the end of the day, just great energy and enthusiasm that you get from these videos from me. And I hope that you get the energy. I hope that you get the passion from these videos too, that you love programming. You find that this is hard. This is really hard, but you do know that it is part of the journey. You know that as you practice and just practice and do the code challenge and see the results and see the solution and ask questions and Google and just read a lot and study a lot and continuously do that, someday you find yourself competent at this thing. You find yourself confident about building apps, and someday you may create something that matters, that can help other people. And today we talk about the last topic, the last needle mover topic in Swift, that is functions in a class. Now, if you remember in the very first session about class 2 sessions ago, the last session, I talked about a class, I will repeat, is the blueprint that defines the properties or describes the properties and the functionalities of an object in general. Right? A car can has the model, can has the brand, and it can have some functionalities. Can drive, can reverse, can fly, can open the hood, can I don't know, it can open the AC, can play some music, those kind of functionalities, right? Now when we talk about functionalities, it means that we have some functions, right? And it's just literally means that we write some functions inside our class, and it doesn't have anything to do with other things. It just exists inside this class, inside an instance of a class. Okay? And it can use, of course, other functions. Now, number one, a function can use other functions inside in the class. And number two, it can use the class properties, right? Its properties. Now, this is, of course, very general guidelines, because as you know, as I teach you more about classes and Swift and properties and functions in the class, you know there are different kinds of functions, different kinds of properties, and this thing will not apply if we use more advanced concept. But just know for now is that the basic form of a function in the class is a function, and it can use other functions, it can use its own properties, right? And now, because it is a function, now this is getting weird. I know this is getting weird because when I was the first time I learned about this, it's so weird. Is that for a function in a class, okay, we conventionally, it means that we just call it a method. a method of a class. Other languages like Objective-C, you see that they call it a message. Okay, here we use a method, and this is the same thing if we use in C++ or Java or Python. Okay, so it has been very popular naming convention in other object-oriented programming language too. So here we go. Let's write some functions for the recipe book, right? Or yeah, let's write a function for the recipes. Okay, so I will move this comment over the recipes book. There we go. Let's write the first function. I want to use a function that we are so familiar with, is get a random index. But now, because it is inside the scope of our class, we know that we must get the index that within the bounds of the index of this recipes. Otherwise, if we use that random number inside the class, it is going to break the app. Because again, that index out of bounds, remember? Or index out of range. Okay, so here we go. Let's the number of recipes going to be recipes.count. Okay, and then I will just return immediately integer value of arg_for_random like this, modulus the number of recipes like that. Okay, and now you may ask why is it that we don't have self.recipes right here? Well, the answer is you can use self.recipes. A lot of people who come from Objective-C world, they are so get used to this, so they use the name of the property everywhere. That's okay, that's great. It's even more like descriptive. But in this case, because there's nothing inside the scope of this function that has another recipes property, that's why we can just do not use the self here. We can use that. There's no harm there. Okay, just 5 letters more. Now another way to do this, okay, I'm going to get a little bit more like shortcuts here. Another way we can do this is we just have to over here return in arg_for_random modulus. Instead of number of recipes, we are going to use recipes.count. Okay, so one single line, we have this thing, recipes.count is the number of elements inside the recipes here, and we modulus the random number for that, and we give it an int, and that is going to be inside the bounds of the array. Okay, and now this function, let's have another function for let's call that a method. Another method for this is, let's say, get a new recipe, right? And guess what? What is the return type of this method? We want to have a new recipe from this array of recipes. So the return types, it should be, a recipe. So here we just returned a recipe. And let the random indexed. Now, inside this method right here, get the random index, you see that we use the recipes.count, which means that we use other properties, right? Now, let's use the rule number 1. We can use other functions in the class too. So I want to use this get random index. So here, let's random index to be get random indexed, right? And then I would just have to use return recipes subscript random index, and we have the recipes returned here. Make sense? Okay, it makes sense, right? All right, so now we have the book. I defined it in the last session, so we can just use book dot get new recipe. Okay, and you see that it has ramen and omelette, but it might be ramen. And if I just like typing in some weird thing, and then it will run the thing again. Okay, let's see if it is omelette. It's still ramen. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, if we have more recipes, then it may be more random. Okay, all right. Now let's practice this. The last thing I want to talk about. Let's say we want to have a search functionality inside our thing, right? A search functionality for our recipes book. How can we do that? Let's write a method for that. So here we go. We have a function. let's write a method for that. Func get the recipe with the query of a string, right? So someone gives us a query. Query means that the string or the key that you search in the search bar, right? So if you go to google.com, you're typing in something in there, okay, like Taylor Swift, and that Taylor Swift is going to be the query, okay? Now this thing, we give it a query, a string, and will return for us a recipe, right? So let's do that. Now this thing, we have to use something different, because remember that we have a recipes array, right? We have a recipes array. So we have to use a for loop here so that we can loop through each of the recipes to see that if this query has like the same as the name of the recipes, or it is, let's say the name of the recipes, yeah, let's use the name of the recipes, okay? So if this query match the name of the recipes all in lowercase, then we'll return the recipe. Now pay attention, because I'm going to introduce to you three more concepts that I have introduced to you, except that function, okay? Three more things. Number one is another form of for loop. Now, if you remember that for loop that we have been using is just used for, let's say, I in the range of 0 to, say, recipes.count, right? And then inside here, we have to use let the current recipe equals to recipes subscript I, right? And the folks at Apple, when they wrote this kind of thing, they see that this is like a common pattern. It's incredibly common pattern in programming. That's why we don't have to use this. We can just use for recipe inside our recipes. Well, this thing, it means that for each element inside this array of recipes, right, it loops through immediately. But behind the scenes, is still the same thing. Okay? Now here you can use R, you can use A, you can use B, but here the convention is that we have plural and then just single. Okay? Plural and single. Okay. Now, for each of the recipes inside the recipes, now in order to make sure that it matches this query, we want to search for the recipe.name, right? The recipe.name. But pay attention that the recipe.name, in this case we use like uppercase tiramisu, right? Okay, the uppercase. But what if the query, the user just use lowercase for all in the place? It's still the same thing. They're still referring to that tiramisu, but lowercase t, right? So there's a way in Swift that allows us to do that, to make everything to be lowercase, just for comparison. Okay, so let's say I want to have let over here. Let's use, or you know what? Let's use way over here. Let's use way over here. Okay, I have a string called like A, B, C, D, E, like this, and I want to compare with the string A, B, C, D, E, like that, right? Or just like this, D, one uppercase. I want to compare that, but I want to make sure that it doesn't matter the case of the letters. So we can use a method for a string called lowercase, like this. And guess what happened? Over here on the right hand side, let me see, there's an error above here somewhere. Okay, oh, here, right? So I will comment this thing. Now what is the error here? The error here is that we missed the return in a function that we tell Swift that we will return as the recipe. So because we haven't implemented yet, so I will comment that. And the way that we can shortcut the comment is we select all of these, hold the option key and the backslash, and we'll comment everything like that. Very cool, huh? Alright, so now we use the lowercase to make sure that this thing will turn into all A, B, C, D, E in lowercase. And we can use the same for here, dot lowercase, like that. And that is, guess what? Yeah, it is, does this syntax looks familiar to you? This is a function in a class, because the string here is also a class, an object, an instance of the string class, and it has a function too, a method too, right? Now this may look weird to you because let's say a string is this thing, right? Is this thing, okay? And then I will use a string dot lowercase like that. You see this? Now the reason why I want to use this is I want to make sure that we can compare these things, right? So we can compare, like, is it equal? So this thing equal, if you use one equal, you're going to assign the values. But if you use double equals like that, it's going to be, is it equivalent to the left hand side and the right hand side? Okay, and you see that this is true. It means that you can put this thing inside your if else statement. Alright, so now I will put that thing, we know that, so I will uncomment this thing. Again, I will use comment backslash, it will automatically uncomment. And then we can use if the recipe dot name dot lowercase. So now we have the lowercase of the name of the recipe. Is it equivalent to the query dot lowercase? Okay, if it's the same name, then I will just return this recipe. Okay, so now if it does, then we got the recipe, but we still get this error, right? That is still said missing return in the function expected to return recipe. What is that? Well, it means that now this thing, do you see that this thing is very conditional, right? It means that it has to have some recipes, and then there must be a recipe the same name as the query in order to have some recipe returned. That's why this may never happen, but it still requires, if we declare that a function return something, then we have to return something. So here, just now pay attention, I will do this, but it is not the best way to do that. Okay, so here I will just return a dummy recipe. So recipe like this, will name is empty string for description, empty string rating is 0. Alright, so now this could be a dummy string, a dummy recipe. It doesn't make any sense. Now this thing, again, it is not the best way to do that because it creates false information, and the only way in Swift that we can deal with this stuff is using something we call optional. And optional is a more advanced concept that we don't have to use right now, so I will not introduce in this module become a Swift programmer, because it is not the needle mover, at least at this stage for you. Okay, but if you would love to learn more about that, check out another program I have is Total iOS Blueprint. I know that maybe someday you will have some invitation to that. If you love to join us there, because it is a more deep dive training that we go really advanced, and it doesn't matter if you have programming experience or not. I still go through these more advanced lessons, more dive deep training for you. This thing in iOS development Kickstarter is more of like an introduction for you, so that you get in the game, you get that excited about this, you know that, hey, this is how it works, I know how to program, right? But still, this is like, if you know about, I know I took as many courses that you took, you know, this is really in detail, and I hope that you enjoy as much as I do. And having said all of that, it is our last method inside this class so far. So let's try this search function. So we have the book, and let's use get recipe with a query of, say, tiramisu, like this, right? And it should return for us, let's see, a recipe. And let's see, this guy, yeah, it's tiramisu and all of those things. And let's make sure that it does work with the lowercase stuff. So we have here R-I-U, like that. And let's see if it returned for us. Yeah, it still returned the thing. It works Now is your chance to work with this stuff. Your code challenge in this session is very simple. It's just write a search functionality for our app store. Very simple, like very familiar to the thing that we just write with the get recipe here. So do your code challenge and just practice with that. I hope that if you go into this point and you still see it as so confused, do it again. Goes into this course again, or keep going. Just never stop, never give up. Do not think that oh my god, this programming thing is not for me. Hey, I've been teaching 70 years old folks who do not know about computers. They can't do that. There's no reason why you cannot do that, right? Everyone's mind can be grown, new skills can be developed. If you do not believe in that, pick up the book called Mindset by Carol Dweck. It could change your mind about skill development, because any skill can be developed. So if you think that this is too hard, do it again. And the next time you will see more details. You will look into the things that you are not. Now, only the fundamentals you are setting down. And there are only a few things that you are still confused about. And the next time you do it, you find that you just focus on the things that you're confused about. You improve that. You try to figure it out. You Google it. You find some more information about it. And you find that you're confident about that. And you think that, hey, I get this. You do the code challenges. And now it's your turn to do it. This code challenge, very similar to this one. So I will not do the code challenge walkthrough with you again, because it's just completely very much the same, just for you to practice and get familiarized with the lowercase, the for loop, and the function in the class. Alright, my friend, I hope that you enjoy this lesson, functions in a class in Swift. Well, that is your last challenge in our 7-day Swift challenge so far. I hope that you enjoyed this. Wow, I'm impressed. You know, I read so many statistics, and we see in our courses, we see in our community pages that millions of people, hundreds and thousands of people who bought our courses, even if it is a $10 course or $100 course or $10,000 program. And you know what? Most people don't finish their work. Most people give up in the first challenge. But wow, you are here, and I'm just impressed. I'm so stoked that you complete this. It means that I'm talking to the ones who is going to make it. It means that you take this seriously, and I know that you are so long for you want that next level of journey. You want that next level of career. Maybe again, maybe you want to build your own startup. Maybe you want to build an app that will be your second stream of passive income. That maybe just like me before, all I wanted is a few $100 extra in my bank account so that I can help my families, so that I can live a better life. Well, all of that you can do, I know it, because I was able to do that. And now look at what programming, look at what coding and building apps provide me amazing lifestyle and a chance to serve you like this. I know for sure that it is going to open so many other opportunities for you. So congratulations, day number 7 is complete. You are now a Swift programmer, and I congratulate you. Now, of course, we just cover very fundamental concepts, and there's so much more to learn, there's so much more to grow, so much more to build apps. So if you love the opportunity to work with me personally for the next 6 weeks, or how many long that you want to do, I have an advanced program, a most comprehensive program called Total iOS Blueprint. Yeah, this is the world's most comprehensive training program to teach you become a world-class developer. Yeah, you don't need any prior programming experience. You don't need anything. You just need to trust in the process. Just do the work just like you have been doing over the last 7 days, and I know that you can do this. So check out the program. There will be a link right below this video. And as always, I know that you are just amazing students. So I want to give you a huge discount and a huge bonuses when you join the program with me today. So click the button right below this page. You will see all the details about the program, all the code challenges, all the apps that we're going to build together, all the videos. So please check out Total iOS Blueprint. I hope that I will see you in the program. Until then, go out there every single day of your life, learn new things, craft your ideas, and contribute to the world. I see you around. I see you in Total iOS Blueprint, my friend, my developer.